Alright, what's up everybody, this is Sam from Bet. In this video I'll be doing my full card predictions, picks, bets, breakdowns for UFC 263, Adesanya versus Vettori 2. If you have been following me, you know this spreadsheet, you're familiar to this, and you know that for the last 5 events I'm accumulating near 18 units profit in terms of the money that I bet per event. It's nearly 180% profit for the year. In terms of unit size, I have nearly 60% profit, and for the year per event it's 830% profit. I also have different metrics here. You guys feel free to pause, take a look at this. Also, I have a video in the description where I explain the spreadsheet into more details. I separate these my bets into high, medium, and low confidence, and this is how things are adding up in each segment. Alright, some charts here so you guys can see in each segment what's the profit in unit size. I also put here another chart so you guys can see the evolution through time. I'll divide this video as follows. First I'll be talking about all the picks and the bets, and then on to the breakdowns, and at the end if you'd like to support the channel, stick until the end. I can show the Patreon, can see show you how you can support. Just a real quick note that this is the way I'm doing things. If you wish to follow anything that I'm saying here, feel free to do it as long as you take full responsibility. Take a look in the description. If you're in doubt, there's a disclaimer there. Alright? So guys, before starting, if you don't follow me yet on Instagram, if you'd like to start following, I first put some of the bets that I take there so you guys can get this early on. Also, these videos come up on Patreon first, so if you wish to take everything up front, feel free to follow me on Instagram and support me on Patreon. Like I said, I will be showing to the end. Alright? So as we spoke about, onto all the picks and the bets. This is not in order, but then I'll cover the entire card in order. Alright? So between Frevola and Frank Camacho, I'm picking Frevola, not betting the fights at this current odds. Stephen Peterson versus Chase Hooper, I'm picking and betting Hooper, 1% of my money. I'll explain obviously everything, the breakdowns. Laura Murphy versus Jojo Calderwood, I'm picking and betting Murphy, less than 1% of my money. Hakeem Dawodu versus Movsar Evloev, to me this is the best bet of the card. I'm going 2% on Dawodu as a medium quality bet. Luigi Vendramini versus Fares Ziam, I'm picking and betting Vendramini. Carlos Felipe versus Jake Collier, I'm picking Felipe, you know, in a close matchup in my opinion, so I'm betting Collier, even though he's a small dog. I think he's a live dog. Eryk Anders versus Darren Stewart, picking Anders, not betting the fight. Drew Dober versus Riddell, I'm picking and betting Dober. Israel Adesanya versus Marvin Vettori, I'm picking Adesanya but betting Vettori. Belal Muhammad versus Demian Maia, picking Muhammad, not betting the fight. Jamahal Hill versus Paul Craig, picking Hill, not betting the fight. Deiveson Figueiredo versus Brandon Moreno, I'm picking Figueiredo but betting Moreno. Cara Rosa versus Cedar Eubanks, this has been cancelled. I thought they took out of here, it didn't, so let me just take this out from the next video. And then Leon Edwards versus Nate Diaz, I'm picking Edwards but betting Diaz. Alright, so on to the breakdown, guys. It's quite some fights to cover here. It's quite a stacked card, pretty big card. So I'll do my best here to make things concise, so it makes interesting but not boring to you guys. Alright, so I think I didn't put here Alexis Davis versus Pannie Kianzad, right? I'm not betting this fight, so the pick is Davis. I'm gonna be just talking about it, and then I'll add here on my spreadsheet later on. Alright, so onto the breakdowns between Alexis Davis versus Pannie Kianzad. It's an interesting fight, guys. I think Kianzad, she's definitely the better striker here. Davis doesn't have bad technique, but I think she doesn't have the fluidity and the the quality, let's put it this way, as Kianzad has. Kianzad has good straight shots, quite accurate. She's also improving. She's a quite young girl, still probably 30 or 29 or something like this. Yeah, I didn't put it here, but she's still pretty young. Whereas Davis, she's not old, but probably she's 35, so don't expect much improvements from her. Rather, she's just trying to polish herself. But Davis has advantage on the ground, you know, and I like a lot Davis's game plans. She has legit game plans. She tries to bring it, you know. She's still I can say that she's on a decline, you know. That's what I want to say. But still, she brings it, and she has a good chance to win against Kianzad. But to me, in the end of the day, we're gonna see Kianzad stuff in the takedowns, you know, being able to get quickly back up. She has got very good takedown defense. It was between 3 and 4 stars just because she's excellent takedown defense, very tough to hold. But we'll see Davis trying to push the pace as she always does, trying to shoot. I think Kianzad stuffs most of the takedowns, does more damage. Basically do what Sabina Mazo did against Davis, but not get taken down so much. So I think Kianzad by decision is the safest pick here. I would bet her by decision at these lines. Also, Davis is not impossible that Davis wins this. Even though Kianzad is quite a strong favorite, at least in my calculations, she's 60% favorite. So it's quite a decent likelihood that Pannie wins this one. But I'm not ruling Davis totally out. I think she could win, especially by decision, because she can grind, she can make it close, she can make it a dogfight and take to the ground at times. So it could be close, but still, I'm gonna go with Kianzad here. All right, feel free to pause here, take a look at these comments. I think they're worth your time. These are my calculations for this fight. So like I said, Kianzad by decision, quite a strong. Have nearly 40% there. But Davis nearly 25%. I think I would take this Davis by decision at plus 300 range. On to the next fight, Eryk Anders versus Darren Stewart. Another interesting one. Both quite similar fighters in some regard, a little bit different styles. Anders more like a front foot guy, where he pushes the pace, gets into opponent's face, loads up, throws bombs, then he clinches and keeps grinding. Stewart more like a guy that he tries to be technical, even though he's still not that technical. It's more like a technical brawler, if you'd like to put it this way, because he likes to keep his range, throw some powerful shots, get out of the way, feint, fade and fake. He can clinch, he can shoot, even some double legs, something, but it's not his forte. He's more like a brawler, as I'm putting, but it's a quite complete guy. As Anders, they don't have anything outstanding rather than their power, especially Anders. I think Anders, he has a little bit more physical power, especially the way he fights. He can land with more energy, because he kind of lunges forward and throws lots of power on his left hand. He's a southpaw. So that's why he carries a little bit more power in this matchup. In their first fight, we saw was Anders trying to push the pace. Stewart was doing pretty fine until he got caught by that left hand. Then the fight pretty much changed. Stewart was never back on the fight. He kind of got lucky that Anders landed a legal blow. I think he would get finished. So could happen similar things in this fight. In the previous fight, they had Stewart as a pick. To me, it showed that Stewart, he gets a little bit disoriented when he starts getting hit heavy, but Stewart could be more technical than Anders. Anders also had problems with southpaws in the past, and Stewart was a southpaw. He is a southpaw. So this makes things interesting. If Anders cannot land that bomb and Stewart can trade with him, Stewart probably going to be able to land more shots. If he starts getting caught, then I think Anders going to again flip the script and get the W. But there's a chance that Stewart wins this one. But still, I'm gonna be going with Anders here with the favorite, just because he looked better in their previous fight. So with Anders, I'm going by decision because Stewart's a tough guy. Probably he will adjust a little bit to that left hand, not get caught so often. So we'll see what happens here. It's a quite tricky one to predict, but these are my calculations. These are my comments, guys. I would take this. This fight goes to decision, maybe depends on the price. I think people expect that they finish each other, but there's a decent chance that this goes to the decision. I don't see much Stewart finishing Anders. I put it like 12%, as a KO and a nearly 10% submission, like a guillotine or something. Anders has more chances for the KO, but less for the submission. So I think Anders by KO at plus 600 range, like I put it here, interests me, plus 500, 600. And Stewart probably by decision, because a little bit less likely that he finishes Anders. All right. So these are my calculations and my thoughts. So on to the next fight: Chase Hooper versus Stephen Peterson. It's an interesting one. The thing is that Hooper, he's a teenage dream, right? His nickname. He's a super young guy, ridiculously young, 21. He used to be just a grappler, a pretty dangerous one, because this guy is 6'1". It's just ridiculous as a featherweight. He's also not. Like a narrow shoulders or something. He has pretty broad shoulders, pretty big guy for the division, really. But he didn't have any striking whatsoever when he first started. He's trying to develop that, so I gave him 2 stars here. But there is a big question mark on Hooper, because he's now training with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I think at least he's gonna try to implement a jab and 1-2, which is gonna make this fight really interesting. Stephen Peterson is a very tough guy. This guy has a legit chin. He's a very good grappler himself, the better wrestler in this matchup. But I don't think Peterson would be wise to grapple with Hooper. Even from top, I think Hooper has so much leverage and size and skill on the ground that he's gonna get reversed. But still, Peterson's a tough guy. He's a proud guy. I think he would, in a way, try to beat Hooper on the ground, which will make these things interesting. I think we will see Peterson trying to outstrike Hooper. He would shoot if he feels like, But to be honest, guys, I'm taking a leap of faith here. I think Hooper gonna come with some improvements. I expect that he has at least a jab and a 1-2, which again will make things interesting because he's so big, so tall and long. And Peterson tends to get hit quite a bit. So I think we'll see fairly competitive on the feet. I think Hooper could even have the advantage on the feet if you take my assumption to be true. But if not, the most likely scenario is that Peterson outstrikes Hooper, but Hooper gonna try to take it to the ground, and he has the advantage on the ground. So back and forth there, guys. To me, it's nearly a pick 'em fight. And like I said, this is an assumption. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think Hooper gonna be able to fairly pretty decent on the feet against Peterson and eventually take it to the ground, something like this. That's why I'm going Hooper. I like that he's a plus 120 dog, so that's why I take a small bet on him. But there's some more risk than normal. Let's put it this way, more risk involved. These are my comments, guys. Feel free to pause here. These are my calculations. So if it goes to the decision, to me, you can pick the winner. But I think there's quite a decent chance that Hooper submits Peterson. I'm not putting too much because Peterson, again, super tough, great grappler. And to me, Hooper would control more, but there's a chance that Hooper finishes him. So yeah, I think that's basically what I had to say for this fight. And again, I think it's Hooper by decision. It's my pick, and I have a small bet on Hooper. Which is the next fight: Riddell versus Drew Dober. Good fight here. Two good strikers, especially Dober. He's a little bit more fluid than Riddell. Riddell's more like a guy that pushes the pace pretty crazy. He keeps coming. This guy, Riddell, has nasty cardio. He just doesn't stop coming. It's really ridiculous. He has also had a quite decent ground game. Pretty good double leg, not bad top control, not easy to take down, not easy to hold down type of thing. The same can be said about Dober. Not much of an offensive wrestler, but he has some clinch game. Actually, I don't quite remember having Dober with the clinch game, now that I'm talking about it. But yeah, I fairly him 3 stars here, maybe 2 stars for Dober, because he's more like a kickboxer from the outside. He's a pretty good one. He's also has pretty good takedown defense, not easy to be controlled on the clinch. So this fight most likely plays on the feet, and to me it's gonna play a little bit into Dober's game, because again, Riddell is a good striker, but it's not at Dober's level. Dober, I like him a little bit better, especially on the counterparts. He has more angles, more times better. His 1-2s, his jabs, more difficult to hit this guy too. Riddell can be hit quite a bit, chin is up. So that's why I think Dober gets the edge on the feet, and since to me this fight plays on the feet, even though Riddell should be able to he will try to take to the ground. Maybe he will take Dober down, but I don't think he holds Dober down. All right, that's why I think Dober is a decent favorite here, 55% favorite. So would give nearly -150. He's a -120. He's at -120. He's a small favorite, so there's a little bit value there. That's why I'm throwing, some money on Dober, because he has the experience too. Riddell also has a decent experience, great training camp, etc. So it's not that easy, to say that Dober is a lock or something. It's not. Riddell definitely can win this fight, but to me, Dober is a small favorite, and I like the lines, basically. That's it, So Dober by decision. These are my calculations, guys. I have nearly 35% Dober winning by decision, then Riddell 28%, so Riddell at plus 250, plus 300 dog by decision. Pretty interesting in my opinion, all right? On to the next fight, Frevola versus Frank Camacho. Frevola, so basically, guys, I would say that Camacho is a little bit more polished in the overall skills, like better straight shots, better double legs, better grappling, but he struggles to implement that, because the way he fights, he's not a small lightweight, but the way he fights, he kind of doesn't maximize his range. He doesn't. He has to get inside to throw. He tries to move his head, but he doesn't quite do it the right timing. You know what I mean? When he tries to move the head when he's thinking faint, but when he starts getting inside, he kind of fires with the chin up, starts getting caught. This guy has been TKO'd 5 times, Camacho. Frevola is not a bad striker, you know. Actually, defensively, I would favor Frevola a little bit. Not because he's a good counter puncher, but because the way he fights, he tends to get hit less, and he also has a good some kicks from the outside, some good 1-2s. So Frevola is a little bit, I would say like a little bit less technical or a little bit more sloppy, but he's a more physical guy here. At least at this point in his career, he has not taken so much damage. So I think Frevola can make very competitive on the feet. You know, if Camacho takes the front foot, I think Frevola can fare pretty well. If Frevola takes the front foot, I think Camacho gonna struggle a little bit. He doesn't like fighting on his back foot. But I think the difference is gonna be Frevola's tenacity, his physical skills, trying to grapple all the time. Camacho is on paper the better grappler, but I'm giving the grappling advantage to Frevola here, just because he's more tenacious and the way he does things, you know, mixing MMA skills, he does a little bit of a better job, all right? But we definitely can see Camacho moving forward and being able to make this competitive. And I have Frevola, let me fix this one here, guys, so I didn't update yet. Yeah, I have Frevola 55% favorite, just a second. Yeah, so my pick is Frevola. I think the odds are a little bit off. I would give Camacho between minus 120 to plus 120 to plus 150. So it's pretty much what the bookies have. So it's quite fair what the bookies have, but I think quite tricky to bet because Frevola he should win. But I would take a look on the prop bet. I would feel more comfortable betting Frevola by decision rather than betting Frevola straight. But if you want to parlay Frevola, I don't blame you. It's not a bad parlay piece, you know. So these are my calculations for this fight, guys. Feel free to pause here, take a look at this. Laurie Murphy versus Joanne Calderwood. It's a good fight, this one, you know, between two tough girls, two, you know, legit contenders, I can say. Murphy, she's, you know, there are some fights that Murphy comes off, so she doesn't look that good. I just forgot the name of the girl she fought. She looked pretty off, you know. Actually, Andrea Lee, when she fought Andrea Lee, she looked a little bit off, you know. But then the next fight, she looked pretty good. Calderwood, she is a little bit more consistent, but I think Murphy's a little bit more talented, I can say. At least she shows a little bit more talent, maybe just because she's physically very strong, you know, has good, not only good power, good physical strength. She mixes up pretty well her game, you know. She has a good takedown defense, you know, she has a good double leg. She's also not a bad offensive grappler. So Murphy's a little bit more complete in my opinion. Calderwood, she's improved quite a bit throughout the years. She does a very good job from the outside with her Muay Thai. Lots of switch kicks. She's pretty fast with that, you know, push kicks, 1-2s, good tight clinch, knees up the middle, elbows. So she's a more talented skill in terms of skill set. She has more tools, but I think Murphy does a better job with her simpler tools, you know, with the 1-2, with the hooks, putting pressure on, shooting double legs type of things, you know. So that's why I'm picking Murphy here. I think she gets it done. I think she's gonna be able to make fairly competitive on the feet. Jojo may have even a small edge on the feet, you know, but I think Murphy will take Jojo down at some point. Jojo has okay takedown defense, has a decent game from her back, but against a veteran like Murphy, you know, seasoned, good grappling technique, I think gonna be tough. She gets taken down. We're gonna see Murphy controlling her quite a bit, and if Jojo gets taken down, she's probably gonna get frustrated, and I think she will probably lose the decision. That's why I'm going with Murphy here, guys. Feel free to pause here. There are some comments. They're worth your time. These are my calculations for the fight. To me, Murphy nearly 60% favorite, which makes things interesting because she's like a plus 100 dog. So I got Murphy as a dog the time I'm recording this video. So that's why I like a little bit the bet on Murphy, but not much money because Calderwood, she can bring improvements, and Murphy, like I said, she can come off at times, so you cannot trust her too much, but I think still there's some value there. Movsar Evloev versus Hakeem Dawodu. This is to me is the best bet of the card in Dawodu, just because I have this as a nearly pick and fight. I think it's easy to tell why. Evloev, he's a good, not a bad striker, but he's gonna striking with Dawodu, a very big, powerful, fast, athletic, quite technical guy. Not quite technical, a technical guy, you know. And Evloev, he's gonna have to take this to the ground. He has a good chance to do it because Dawodu, if he gets taken down, he's not easy to hold down because again he's so strong. He knows how to hip escape, to use the cage to get back up, you know. But still, Evloev is so tenacious, you know. If you're gonna ask me, this is the Habib of 145 in my opinion, you know. This guy can grind, and he can push the pace pretty crazy, you know. But still, Dawodu is a bigger guy, you know, has more power. He's dangerous with the knees. Don't think that Evloev just gonna walk him down and throw down. You know, he could try, but I think he's gonna be in for a big risk if he does it. You know, because again, Dawodu can crack with the hand, with the knees. You know, and Dawodu is not a guy that is easy to you just take him down and hold him down. He's gonna explode. He's gonna get back up. He's gonna bring it to fight. So that's why pick your poison. In my opinion, you know, it's between Evloev being able to take him down more consistently, or Dawodu being able to land the bigger shots. I end up going with, you know, Evloev by decision, just because I think there's a little bit of a bigger chance that he does hold Dawodu down, or Dawodu, if Dawodu doesn't come ready with his takedown defense, he doesn't bring his A game, he's gonna get controlled. So I'm just picking Evloev because of this. I don't remember if I said with the spreadsheet that I was picking Dawodu. I'm sorry if I said that, I may got confused. But my bet is definitely on Dawodu, guys, like I'm putting here. I have it nearly as a pick him. So Dawodu, massive value, in my opinion, on him, you know, especially by decision. I'm putting like near 5% chances difference here for the decision prop, but Dawodu has more chance for the KO. So that's why the bet on Dawodu makes sense to bet him in a straight and a parlay. Plus, I'm going to be throwing Dawodu on decision prop bets, and I'm probably going to be betting this goes to the decision also to try to cover Dawodu a little bit, or even, you know, Evloev by decision. I could take that bet too if the price is right. But I think the value will definitely be on Dawodu's side, you know, especially Dawodu by decision, massive value. So this is my biggest bet of the card in Hakeem Dawodu. These are the comments, feel free to pause here. And between Luigi Vendramini versus Fares Ziam. It's another interesting fight. Vendramini, man, I have seen, unfortunately, only his UFC fights. I tried to find the previous, prior to the UFC, I couldn't find anything. But this guy, to me, has crazy potential, you know, because he's young. Both of these guys are very young, so they're both hot prospects in this division. To me, Vendramini, he's a more athletic guy, you know, he has more power. He's definitely the better grappler in this matchup. He's so tenacious, so tough. He's gonna push forward like crazy, you know, and he's crazy young, so not crazy young, like 24 or something. But what is it? 24, no, 24 is young. Yeah, Vendramini is 25, so he's in his physical prime. He has definitely the mindset for the game, the physical tools, you know. And he also seems to pack power, you know. I cannot say that he's a good striker because I haven't seen enough. I saw against Eliseu Zaleski, his hands looked off, but then on the next fight, I forgot the name that the other guy that he won by knockout. So in the other fight, he looked, you know, pretty good, you know. Of course, it was 2 shots, so it's difficult to tell. In the first minute, everybody looks good. But he seems to have potential nonetheless. He's a BJJ black belt. He has the black belt in Muay Thai, you know, so it's not the real Muay Thai credentials, but still it shows that at least he has good experience in striking. He didn't yet show me in the octagon, in my opinion, but again, it's between that and Ziam that we have seen that is a very good striker, especially defensively. But Ziam doesn't like to take the front foot. You're not gonna see, especially in this matchup, Ziam pushing the pace. You're gonna see Ziam trying to counter punching because of the style of Vendramini, and because he's a counter puncher, Ziam. So it's gonna be Vendramini pushing the pace basically. If you believe that Ziam gonna be able to stuff all those takedowns and catch him clean, you can bet Ziam. Otherwise, to me, it's Vendramini because he has the grappling. If he takes Ziam down, he can finish Ziam, even though Ziam has a quite decent submission defense game and not easy to take and hold down. But still, to me, Vendramini is a guy that has more value. I'm picking and betting Vendramini here, Luigi Vendramini, and that's why I think there's value there. All right, these are my comments and my considerations. These are my calculations. Feel free to pause here, and I think it's worth your time. Carlos Felipe versus Jake Collier. Another interesting one in the heavyweight division. I would say that Felipe has a small edge, on the striking because he throws more volume. But it's going to be interesting to see him against Collier. That's a quite tough guy, He was very tough in the middleweight and in the light heavyweight. As a heavyweight, he doesn't look that bad, even though he doesn't look so lean, you know what I mean? And but neither does Felipe, and Collier, he's 6'3" or 6'4". I've seen I think I've seen 6'4" when he was measured in the UFC. So Collier, he's a taller guy. He has the range over Felipe. And in terms of striking, Collier actually, he does a pretty good job. To me, the difference just Felipe's volume. That's why I'm giving 4 stars for Felipe and 3 stars for Collier. But Collier arguably has more tools. He at least uses much more his kicks. He mixes that pretty well with the hooks. Collier tends to have a bad habit to have the chin up and hang in the pocket, which could be dangerous against Felipe, that it's a young and intense guy. But still, Collier is not out of this matchup by no means. I think we're going to see fairly competitive on the feet. To me, it would be very interesting to see if Collier can shoot on Felipe. There is a chance that he's going to do it, because he's the better grappler in this matchup. So I'm very curious to see if Collier can shoot on Felipe. He has submissions. Collier has some submissions under his belt. So it could be even more competitive if Collier brings the right game plan, there is a decent chance that he does. So to me, it's a quite tricky one. Could be between Felipe being a strong favorite if he can start landing and just putting the big volume that we know of him. Between that and being a 50-50 fight where Collier makes it competitive on the feet, could try some clinching. I'm leaning more towards Felipe 55% favorite. So to me, makes sense to bet on Collier. That's why I'm saying I'm picking Felipe but betting Collier. Collier at plus 200, there is value in my opinion. So I'm putting some parlays with Collier, some round robins, and I'm also probably gonna be taking the Collier by decision when the lines open up. These are my calculations, guys. I have Felipe, quite some chance for the decision and KO, but Collier by decision is probably gonna be the best bet of this fight because of the value on Collier. All right, these are my comments. Feel free to pause here. And between Leon Edwards versus Nate Diaz, another interesting one. It's interesting because of the styles. Edwards, people are pretty high on this guy. There is reason for it. He's, pretty much excellent everywhere. He's a big guy for the division, quite tall, long, athletic, fast, pretty well rounded, like I said. But he's more like a counter puncher, when he fights, and he's fairly better when he's on the defensive grappling because he makes guys to wear on him and burn their cardio, and he does a good job of landing knees, making reversing takedowns type of things, But he's not that excellent on the front foot, Edwards. He's pretty decent. He uses kicks from the outside on the offensive strike. He can use a jab, a 1-2. He can also shoot a double leg, land some ground and pound, pass guard, etc. But it's not too much, aggressiveness, not too much intensity. That's why he's not getting the best rating here. Also, he has some power, but not that crazy power or anything, quite accurate, but not outstanding. So Edwards is a very good fighter. He's good everywhere, but I would say he's not excellent anywhere. He's excellent in the defensive part, I can say, but not excellent on the offensive part. Now Diaz, probably you guys know him. He's pretty much a boxer, with a good BJJ game, but it's not easy to deal with this guy. He just keeps coming. He has an iron chin, even at this point, even in the welterweight division, I still trust Diaz chin, to be honest. I think he's gonna try to push the pace on Edwards. He's probably gonna fall into Edwards' game, but this is also a Nate Diaz game. He's the best when he, in the middle of the octagon, trading 1-2s with guys. The range is the same in this matchup. even though Edwards is a little bit taller. So let's say that he has a little bit of advantage in the range, but a couple of inches only, so it doesn't count much. I think we're gonna see Diaz trying to push the pace on Edwards. We're gonna see if Edwards can actually do more damage on Diaz. I'm not convinced. To me, Edwards is not a lock, you know. I think we're gonna see this fairly competitive. I think Diaz gonna try to push the pace on Edwards, you know. I'm leaning this more towards Diaz 30%, you know, chance, because like I said, Diaz will try to push the pace. The question is, can Leon Edwards take Nate Diaz down? The answer is yes. Can he hold him down? I'm not that sure. Probably he can, because he's pretty good there and he reshoots. He's a smart fighter. So that's why I'm also not trusting too much Nate Diaz here. But to me, Diaz, he's gonna come ready for that. He's gonna get taken down, but I think there's a chance that he gets back up at quite consistent rate, let's say, and pushes the pace on Edwards. So on the feet, I expect this to be fairly competitive. Small advantage to Edwards again, but not much. So that's why, to me, the best bet here is on Nate Diaz. I'm taking a small bet on him, you know. I would actually not favor, right? But I would like, if this would be a 5-rounder, I think it would be more interesting to see this fight in 5 rounds because of Nate Diaz's style. He's a guy that has the cardio and he gets better, obviously, when his opponents get tired. But still, I think the value is on Diaz, in my opinion, you know. So I have this nearly, let's say, Edwards 70% favorite, which the line would come to plus 270 on Diaz. I have Diaz at plus 400 where as a bet, so there's a little bit value there. You know, I'm throwing 1% of my money on Diaz. I think less than that, 0.75%. So it's a really small bet on Diaz, but still there is some value there, especially Diaz by decision. Probably Diaz by decision, you guys gonna be able to find it plus 700 or something, which definitely has a value, you know. But rather than that, of course, if you're parlaying Edwards, I don't blame you. I just don't think there's much value. Him at plus, you know, 500 or plus 450 or something, minus 500 minus 450. Alright, between Demian Maia and Belal Muhammad. This is another interesting one because Maia is the BJJ guy, right? Everybody knows that. He tried in the past to become better on the striking. Didn't quite get there, but I'm, you know, being nice to him, giving like 3 stars for him. I know, maybe 2 to 3 stars, you know, 2.5, let's put it, because at times he can go with the 1-2, you know. He's pretty much a 1-2 fighter when he's on the feet. Sometimes he tries some light kicks here and there, but it's not that bad, you know. I've seen some fights where he can push the pace with 1-2, so it's not that bad. But still, Muhammad has the better striking here, hands down. Muhammad is also the better wrestler, but he's gonna have to use his counter wrestling here against Maia. Maia gonna try to shoot his double leg, you know, to try to chain wrestle and try to take this to the ground. I think Muhammad's gonna be able to stop those takedowns, you know, but still it's a quite tricky one to call because Muhammad by decision is the safest pick, but betting Maia should be the best bet here. You know, if you're gonna force me to bet, I would bet Maia, just because of where the lines are at. I would have Belal like 55 to 60% maximum favorite, which gives this range that I'm putting here, minus 140. So Maia to me is like a plus 150 dog. If I'm not mistaken, Maia it's like a plus 250 dog. You know, so it would make sense to bet Maia. I think the lines moved pretty well from the first time I've seen. Just real quick check this. So if you're gonna force me, like I said, to bet, I would bet Maia, but you know, Maia by decision probably is very interesting because Muhammad has pretty good takedown defense. I'm just trying to find here. Yeah, so Maia is like plus 200 dog. I think people are betting on Muhammad. So I may even take a bet on Maia, you know, just because he has quite some chance to submit Muhammad too, so it makes sense to bet him both in a straight line and decision. But yeah, if you're gonna ask me, the pick is Muhammad by decision. These are my comments, guys. These are my calculations. So yeah, I have Muhammad by my calculation 55%. There's a big variance on this one because depend a lot whether Maia can take to the ground or Muhammad stuffs everything and starts landing on him. So that's why this is a big variance. But even with this variance, it would make sense to bet Maia, at least per my calculations. I'll let you guys know if I decide to bet Maia and for how much. All right. On to the next fight: Jamahal Hill versus Paul Craig. Striker versus grappler. Craig tried to implement a game plan quite similar. Implement striking quite similar to Maia. He's still trying. He's not bad, trying to improve a little bit, especially on the defensive part. He's not that bad with the range control. Times well his 1-2s, his head kicks, But on the offensive part, he's pretty sloppy still. Chin is up, not much setups, nothing, not much power. He, on the other hand, excellent on the front foot. Those 1-2s, they come up the middle sharp. He's a big guy for the division, tall, long, His problem is he's more like a boxer from the outside, let's put it this way, but it's not easy to take him down and to hold him down, which makes things interesting, Craig gonna try to get inside to shoot to make him grapple. I'm not sure he's gonna be able to do it. I think he's gonna be able to start landing quite a bit on Craig. Craig kind of panic wrestles, not panic wrestles because he's a pretty solid guy in this regard. He's calm. He's gonna wait for the right time, but I don't think he's gonna be able to take Hill down. I think he's gonna start getting damaged, and we're gonna see Hill probably finishing Craig. So I'm going Hill by TKO. I think in the first two he has more chances, but he could even finish Craig in the later rounds. The problem is that Hill, it will be interesting to see whether his cardio holds up, because he was not too much pushed, maybe a little bit on the Darko Stosic fight, but I think Craig gonna push him a little bit harder here, but I still think that Hill is the safest pick. But by no means I think it's a lock again. I see Paul Craig pushing a lot the pace and testing Hill's cardio and takedown defense. So watch out for that if you're gonna be, parlaying Hill or something. Put this into some risk. Don't parlay Hill with all your parlays basically. At least my opinion, obviously. And I would probably gonna be betting Craig by decision, because by my calculations, Hill has a little bit more chance, but Craig by decision from plus 400 range, I would definitely take this bet, as a prop bet, because to me there is value there. Even though Craig could submit Hill, I'm being maybe too optimistic saying 20%. I think it's less than that, probably 15%. Just now that I'm redoing my thinking here. So between 15 to 20% Craig submits, but I would say that Craig by decision is definitely an interesting bet here, because again, Hill is not easy to take down. I think this guy's pretty tough, and Craig, for him to submit, Hill is either gonna take the top position, get his back, or get an anaconda, or go for a leg lock or something. But I don't know. I think Craig by decision probably gonna be my bet for this fight, and probably fight goes to the decision, because I also can see Hill being able to land quite a bit on Craig, but Craig has a good chin, surviving, this type of things. Deiveson Figueiredo versus Brandon Moreno, excellent fight again. The rematch, their first fight was pretty good. I like what I've seen. I think we're gonna probably see the replay of that, because I don't think Figueiredo gonna change much his style. Why it was closed, if you're gonna analyze it, the only reason it was closed was because Figueiredo, not that he didn't quite guess, but he's obviously he starts super fast because he explodes in every single move, and then he kind of throws with less volume, but he's still pretty dangerous all the time. But the problem Figueiredo has is that when he starts from the third round, he starts overextending on things, start getting countered. That was basically what happened. Moreno started picking his shots from the third round when Figueiredo was overextending. Moreno is a pretty tough guy, it's unbelievable the amount of shots that he took, especially to the body. To me, it was insane how this guy survived. So you can see the Mexican toughness on Moreno. Young guy, tough guy, ready to fight. Pretty skilled everywhere, as you guys can see here. I think Figueiredo is definitely the 5-star striker on the offensive part, super dangerous, creative, etc. But on the defensive, I don't think we're going to see him changing much his style. I think he's going to probably overextend again from the third round. If Moreno makes it until the third, could be close again. That's why I'm picking Figueiredo but betting Moreno, because Moreno by decision is definitely the best bet in this matchup. You know, Figueiredo inside of the distance could be interesting because I think after the first fight, people didn't expect that Figueiredo finishes Moreno. But there's a good chance that Figueiredo can do that because again, so much power, and if he starts landing clean, Moreno gonna bend. You know, if Moreno shoots panic wrestling, Figueiredo has a wicked guillotine. You know, so Figueiredo can also finish Moreno, especially by the guillotine choke. So, but still, I think the best bet here is Moreno by decision. This is my calculations. You guys can see here. I have Fig by 30% by decision and Moreno 25. So from plus 300, Moreno makes sense by decision per my calculations, you know. And but Moreno is like plus 200 drug, so you can easily find him at plus 300 by decision, and the props open up. So this is my for this fight. This is the biggest bet. But Figueiredo instead of the distance, it's quite interesting. Like I said, I have it here nearly 30% that Figueiredo can finish. Moreno may look pretty high, but still, I think. Again, Figueiredo has so much, you know, power and so much. He's so big for the division and so skillful everywhere that there's a good chance that he finishes Moreno. Okay. All right. So I think these are my comments for the co-main event, and now from the main event, Israel Adesanya versus Marvin Vettori. Great fight again, guys. In their first matchup was very close. Could be a replay of their first matchup, which gonna make things very interesting. Adesanya is known by his kickboxing. I like a lot his defense and his counter striking. This guy is an elite counter striker, super patient. You know, straight shots, picks the right things at the right time, kicks. He also has good takedown defense, tough to hold down. You know, if you're gonna argue that but Blachowicz hold him down, it's true, but. That's the name of the game, right? Because they're both retired, and then Blachowicz had the wrestling, and then at that point, Adesanya takedown defense started fading, and then he got controlled. But he has to be flattened out to control. If he's gonna be taken down the cage, he's gonna use the cage. And yeah, Adesanya on the front foot's pretty good too. You know, very good 1-2s, good volume. You know, but to me, he stands out in the counter striking, which plays a little bit into his hands when he's fighting Vettori, an aggressive guy. Quite compact, strong, good everywhere. You know, I'm giving him 3 stars here between the offensive wrestling. Could be 4 stars. I'm not giving 4 yet because I'm quite curious to see the improvements that he's having on his wrestling. He was always a pretty decent wrestler, but not a great wrestler. I think we're gonna see him improving on the wrestling part. He's gonna have to use it against Adesanya. Vettori probably gonna march him down, gonna start hitting shots and shooting, which will make things interesting. I think Adesanya will take the first 2 rounds quite comfortably, as Adesanya did against Blachowicz. But from the third, it will be interesting because Vettori has a good chin, a very strong chin, and good power on his hands. Not that Adesanya gonna be able to, you know, take too many risks. You know, he's not gonna be wanting to get caught by Vettori, and Vettori has a good physical strength, you know, to push Adesanya against the cage or to try to out-wrestle him. So it's gonna be an interesting fight, guys. To me, it's like, yeah, Adesanya to me would be like 55% favorite, something like this, you know. I would say that, as there is a range on everything, you know, I would say that Adesanya 60% favorite, so it would be like minus 150, something like this. You know, even though in the mean that I made here, he was minus 130, but I think I would more favor Adesanya to minus 150, which brings Vettori to plus 140, plus 150 range. And Vettori is a plus 200 dog, so to me it makes sense to bet Vettori. I got him on some round robins, you know, so could be interesting. Like I said, I think Adesanya by decision is the safest pick because, again, a Vettori strong chin, as Adesanya long guy, gonna be able to land more shots, etc. Probably Vettori gonna struggle to take him down. You know, he will struggle in the first 2, but from the third, things may be interesting, which makes sense. Vettori in a live bet, maybe, you know, because this guy again so tough. But Vettori by decision is definitely a good bet in my opinion. You know, because Vettori, if he wins, most likely it's by decision. I don't think he submits, neither finishes Adesanya with the hands or ground and pound. Right? So these are my comments, the prop bets that I'm interested into. These are my calculations, guys. This one I didn't put in the percentage. This I think it's wrong here. Give me a second. Okay, so by my calculations, this is what I have. Adesanya nearly 55% favorite. There's a decent chance for the KO because even though Vettori has a great chin, he could be KO'd by taking so many shots, especially from this. I have from the third round, between second and third round and fourth round for Adesanya. Maybe interesting to see if you can get him Adesanya round 3 TKO. I have it like most likely on round 3, so I'll probably take this bet too. Adesanya round 3 TKO. And Vettori by decision, like I said, because Vettori has a plus 220 dog by decision, we easily find him at plus 350 by decision or something, which to me makes lots of sense to have this bet. All right. So guys, this will do for this video. If you like it, please like it, subscribe, share it with your friends. Let me show you how you could support the channel. Just give me a second here. So basically I have 3 tiers, the 10, 15 and 50. If you're watching this from Patreon, you are one of the members. So for $10 you guys can see this early, which makes sense when you can parlay, when you want to play this odds early to catch the best odds. It makes difference, guys, so it's really easy to get this $10 back, as long as you bet, if you bet at least $50 a month. I see this fairly easily for you to get back just by getting the best odds early if you bet the right people. For $15 with the prop bets, line by line, what I do in terms of prop bets. Let me show you guys what I mean here in a second. Yeah, so here it is. So for the prop bets, in this example here, I'm showing the $50 tiers. So I line by line everything that I'm doing. So this is basically it, everybody that I'm doing parlaying, different parlays with different events, all the props. But for $15 tier, it's all the props, with the amounts that I'm betting on each prop. So it helps you guys in this regard, with the prop bets. And if you trust me and you like my analysis from previous time, would like to see everything I'm doing, or basically just copy what I'm doing, you should take if you could take the full responsibility, you can do it with the $50 tier. Just basically copy and cash your profit hopefully by the end of the events. All right. So guys, this will do for this video. Again, if you like, please like, subscribe. If you have any different idea of how we can partner, feel free to reach out to me by mail, by Instagram. I always reply to the messages. Drop your comments. Let me know how you guys are betting this, and I'll talk to you next time. This is Sam from Southern Bet, bringing the best, most consistent, and transparent betting strategy for you.